Hello nerds and nerdettes, welcome back to the channel where once again we have a new video for you guys, a new top 5 video for you guys, going over my personal 5 favorite events at Marvel. I happen to absolutely love events, crossover events, whatever it may be. I know some can take it or leave it, but I happen to love events just in general. But before we get into the list, I do want to remind you guys that if you are looking for any of these books I'm about to talk about, or you'd like to pre-order any upcoming releases, to use the channel sponsor, organicpricebooks.com. Use the discount code STAYNERDY for $2 off your order, or you can use the new code STAYNERDY Ship It Together when ordering 3 or more books to get 5% off that order. It is a great way to help support the channel, as well as the amazing company Organic Price Books. Also, for my manga lovers, I am a Right Stuff affiliate, so if you'd like to use my code to help support the channel as well when ordering manga, you can head to my links down below and do that. But let's go ahead and start the list. But first, before we jump into it, just keep in mind this is my subjective list. I would love to hear what your top 5 would be. It is specific to me as a reader, obviously. Your listing is not wrong. My listing isn't wrong. It's all opinion based. So, of course, comment down below. Let me know what your top 5 is. I love to hear from you guys and your thoughts and feelings towards stories overall, no matter what it is. But let's go ahead and jump into the top 5 with, of course, number 5. First up at number 5 is going to be the Spiderverse, or the Spider-Geddon, whatever you kind of call it. I just kind of call it the Spider-Verse event, but that is my number 5 pick because I happen to love variants of characters, which I feel like I just mentioned in my X23 video. I very much enjoy characters that are based off of other characters or variations of an original character, and that's exactly what this entire event pretty much has to do with. You have very different and interesting versions of Spider-Man from other universes coming into play, helping out Peter Parker and taking on a very kind of visceral enemy that we actually see just completely ravage some of these Spider-Men. So it's a very fun story, but also has some heft and some weight to the actions that are taking place. A lot of fan favorite Spider-Mans appearing through these pages, and maybe not making it out of by the end of the story. So that's definitely a story that's right up my alley. I happen to love events, period, but I especially love events when the stakes are extremely high, when I feel like it has long-lasting events pertaining to the future of the Marvel Universe, which even today, the Spider-Verse is still appearing in single issues, so obviously this definitely has some long-lasting events. It also focuses on a villain that is introduced in my personal favorite Spider-Man run, which is the J. Michael Straczynski run, and he ends up kind of being the main villain of the story, or him and his family, trying to avoid spoilers there, end up being the main villain of this story. So it's definitely something I happen to just love. My 2 favorite Spider-Man characters are Ben Reilly and Miles Morales, and obviously this being the Spider-Verse, they pop up quite a bit throughout, so super awesome. Fight scenes are kick-ass. So many interesting and creative variations on Peter Parker, or just the mantle of Spider-Man in general. And because of the creativity and the weight of the story, that's exactly why it's at number 5. Those are 2 things that typically pull me into a comic book, and that's exactly what this is full of. But that does wrap up number 5, so let's go ahead and jump into number 4. And coming in at number 4 is House of M. Talk about extremely high stakes. House of M is a very fan favorite event overall, just because of the effect it had on the X-Men moving forward, and X-Men obviously being a fan favorite team and book in the community. But man, are the stakes so high by the end of this book, just to see what takes place and the long-lasting feelings throughout the Marvel Universe going forward. Some minor seeds of what took place still being in comic books today. A very popular story overall, and for good reason. You really get to see a lot of creativity come about as well, exploring kind of a possible what if universe in a way where you see different iterations once again of characters that we know and love, such as Wolverine, such as Spider-Man, whoever it may be. And I once again love the creativity by the creators that build this world full of these characters that we may or may never see again, but they put so much effort, so much love and passion into this project overall that you can 100% feel it when reading. The stakes that are taking place here claim the life of characters. It's one that you definitely come out of being a little shook and not exactly sure where you stand pertaining to some characters as well, especially pertaining to some of those characters, Scarlet Witch, moving forward, because obviously a lot of these characters come in and out of the Marvel Universe due to deaths or popularity, whatever it may be. So when you see some of these characters again, you either cheer or you get extremely mad and want to throw the metaphorical tomato at the screen, and that's exactly what this book kind of causes. It creates a lot of friction between readers and these fake characters and the decisions they made, and I absolutely love that. Definitely gets the blood boiling when you think about certain characters and how they went about some of the actions that they went about during this particular event. But it could easily go higher on this list. Honestly, 4 through 1 could move or drop depending on really my mood or what I'm really enjoying to talk about at the moment. But that does wrap up number 4 for the time being. So we're going to jump to number 3. Number 3 is going to be World War Hulk. Probably another hot pick for this list because I feel like most people are not huge fans of this story, but I happen to love it. Hulk is my second favorite Marvel character, right behind Captain America. And honestly, the position Hulk is put in during this entire event is the position or the role that I love to see Hulk play the most, if that makes sense. I just like to see Hulk kind of in a gray area where he's not necessarily a hero, he's not necessarily not a hero, he's somewhere in between due to his control and his alter personalities, and that's exactly what you have taking place here. You have Hulk kind of reacting to a event or a decision that was made pertaining to him and some people that he cares about. So you kind of back him in a lot of ways, but then when he kind of moves forward with his plan of revenge or vengeance, you kind of end up not so much in his corner. But the 100% selling point for me, at least during this book, is just the fights. You literally get to see Hulk take on pretty much every member of the Marvel Universe in some capacity, and that is what I love. I happen to love action adventure stories, especially stories with good action, and that is exactly what this event, this book, is full of. I happen to really enjoy the crossovers as well because it's just more of seeing Hulk interact or fight with other characters, which I think kind of meld perfectly with the story that you are reading, which is Hulk taking on the Marvel Universe pretty much. I also happen to very much love the focus on some of the lesser known characters that are kind of taking place. Obviously, you see the Avengers making an appearance and playing their role, but you see a lot of focus on characters like Reed Richards, Doctor Strange, Century, just to name a few. And I love when stories kind of focus on those lesser known characters or lesser focused as individuals characters, and that's what you get throughout here as well. Definitely a great book, though. It's not for everyone. I can definitely see that being a thing, but for me as a reader, I just love seeing Hulk kick ass. I love seeing Hulk take on superheroes, supervillains, destroy buildings, everything like that. That's where I love to see Hulk the most, and that's what this entire event is full of. So that's exactly why it's at number 3. So we can go ahead and jump into number 2. And at number 2 is AVX, or Avengers versus X-Men. Of course, we were just talking about how much I love action, and once again, here is another event that is full of fighting. You get to see a bunch of characters take on one another, a lot of interesting matchups taking place. Also, kind of backtracking a little bit, House of M and its importance and the stakes that are at play during that book directly affect this book as well. You have a lot of spillover from that event into this, which makes, honestly, this entire event that much better. I absolutely love this story. I don't know why, but it just hits every note that I wanted to hit while reading. You have obviously a lot of focus on the Avengers and the X-Men, but also my 2 favorite characters from the respective teams, which is Captain America and Cyclops Scott Summers. And obviously with my 2 favorite characters from both of those teams being a lot of the main focus during this book, during this event, I'm always going to sign up for that. Also, like I said, there is a mini series called Versus, where you're pretty much just seeing fights take place that you may or may not have expected to take place. And again, I love action. I love good action, great choreography when it comes to the action, interesting ideas pertaining to where the fights are taking place or what's happening during those fights. And again, you're getting that in this book, in this event. The creativity that takes place here as well is also something I'm a huge fan of. I know the retcon as far as the Phoenix and the Phoenix Force and kind of how the Phoenix plays its role in the universe, treading lightly here, is something that a lot of people are not huge fans of, but I happen to enjoy it. Once again, maybe that's a hot take, but I also think the creativity comes in the form of those fights, those hero on hero action sequences that we're getting throughout, and how whatever the hero is that wins takes out the opposing hero, and kind of why, and the tension that it builds between those 2 characters, and why the tension comes to be built in the first place. I think there's a lot of history behind this book that, if you read some of those stories, just adds so much more weight to this event. And again, extremely high stakes, especially when you get to the end. Some long-lasting events that take place, especially during the end, and a lot of tension built between characters that take place as well and still last in comic books today. So definitely a great story. One that I know is, again, a little divisive, but for me as a reader, it ticks all the boxes. But that does wrap up number 2. So let's go ahead and jump to my number 1 pick. And my number 1 pick for my favorite Marvel event in Marvel Comics is none other than Civil War. Ignore this ugly movie cover. Hopefully we get an omnibus soon. Please, Marvel, I beg of you. But man, do I love this story. You are looking at a story that drastically changed the Marvel Universe during the time that this story took place. A lot of relationships, friendships being extremely tested, a lot of tension between teams and characters, even a massive death taking place by the end of the story. And even that death was felt throughout the Marvel Universe in a serious way. Also, once again, if you haven't noticed a common theme, there is a huge focus on the character of Captain America, who is my favorite Marvel character as well. So, obviously, I'm a fan of that as well. But this is a very divisive book. I think a lot of people either hate it or love it. It really depends on who you're talking to. But it's also divisive in its experience when reading, because you do have kind of a division between 2 characters, and depending on who you are and how you're reading the story or comprehending the story, you could end up on either side, in all honesty, because sometimes I do see oftentimes that one character is made out more to be the hero than another, but when I really read into the story, I find that to not be true at all, because I do think each character, each team have their merits and their positives to how they're moving forward to deal with the tragedy that they are left to deal with, treading lightly again. Um, and I absolutely love that. I love that someone can read this and have a completely different opinion than me as a reader. I think that is what makes the comic book world so interesting, is that one person can read a book while another one does and have completely different opinions, comprehensions, ideas about the story in general. And that's exactly what this is. I think a lot of people may agree with a certain side, but I guarantee you can probably find someone that would maybe have agreed more with the other side that a lot of people may or may not have agreed with. So overall, I just enjoy that it kind of gets people thinking, and that's what I love most about this book. As if that's not enough, you do have amazing, amazing, amazing McNiven art, which, holy moly, if you read comic books, you know exactly how beautiful his art is, and he illustrates the entire thing. And honestly, how much it affects even B-list characters is just, it's incredible, really, just how much this was felt through the Marvel Universe. Looking at you, Speedball, how much a lesser known, probably C-list character got so changed and so just into a completely different character. And I could honestly just talk for hours about Civil War and just how this era at Marvel was so different and so interesting at the same time, and Spider-Man's involvement, and how you can kind of understand why he's at a crossroads. And I mean, it's just a great story. I very much enjoy it as a reader. I would love to hear what you guys think of it, but that does wrap up my top 5. Thank you so much for watching. As always, I hope you guys enjoyed my top 5 favorite Marvel events. Like I said in the beginning of the video, comment down below. Let me know your top 5 or maybe even your top 10. I would love to hear from you guys. I'm very interested in that. Like I've said probably a million times now on this channel, I love to hear other people's opinions and kind of their views on stories, events, characters, whatever it may be. So leave that comment down below and we can have a fun little conversation about it. But other than that, thank you so much for watching once again. If you would like to join the community, hit that subscribe button. Also, if you do me a favor and hit that thumbs up icon. And if you did enjoy today's video and you want to watch more like it, then go ahead and hit that bell icon. But other than that, I truly, truly had fun making this video. I feel like I could probably talk for hours, but we'll stop here. And of course, as always, stay nerdy.